Now, if we took his moon's in Sagittarius, and it's in the Leo Pentan. And then, ta-da, my opinion's got to be the best. This is the storyteller. It's got to be best. And of course, I got to make money from it. It has the Taurus side. I got to get some value out of this. So I'm going to get, it's his moon. He's going to make money for the family, for his home, his personal things. He's going to benefit, and he's going to make the bet. So he's got his hotels, he's got his things, he's running the government. He's in a, what you see the full moon opposition, the Gemini Sag as a conflict of interest. But that's his signature. So this is, okay, let's just do this. Is I see the motivation point, Scorpio and IC, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do this. This is a business. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this happen. With Aquarius, Pentan, and again, the Leo intimate detail. So I know what I got to do. Don't tell me what I'm going to do. He's really fixed and stubborn at where he's coming from, what he's going to do. And he's proud and sure of what he's got. It's got to be in my way. Any one of these, you could easily lose half an hour or two contemplating and working through. So trying to do this without feedback, without doing things, I just have to present it to you and let it settle. And if you play it over again, you can slow it down and stop at some point and listen to it and say, okay, look at this. So this is, how are we doing for time? Oh, we're doing good for time. Okay, this is great. So it's the Trump's ascendant, it's a Leo ascendant, Virgo, Pisces, Leo, Virgo, Pisces. So it's identity. I'm the best. Don't criticize me. I can be critical about things, but don't criticize me. And then he has the belief side, the Mercury and the Jupiter, the Virgo and the Pisces inside of that. So it's he believes in his own analysis of things, and he puts it out. Ta-da! There it is. Okay, now, sorry, just gonna we're at 2:30. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead here a little bit more. Maybe we can look at a couple. There's a Sigmund Freud's chart, and he has a Sun conjunct Uranus. His Sun's that. We'll just take it. This is with the color and the constellations. See, in this chart, you have the signs of the Zodiac. You have the Pentans on the degree grid. You see on where the degrees are around the signs? Pentans are put there in the color. And then the sidereal Zodiac is put around it. And outside of that, the actual signs of the constellations around it. And so in a certain way, I use color a lot because color expresses the meaning of a sign better than a word would. Words are really narrow and it means this, or it's impulsive, or it's this, or it's restless, or this. We get a word, but it's not always that. But color has a much more wholesome view of things. So the color and the notes or the sounds for each of the signs transcends, it goes beyond what words can do. And then there's meditations or chants and things that go on behind that tie into the Zodiac. So words are really the lowest form of astrology. It's how we get our bearings. We start making sense. We learning the language and developing it. But eventually we begin to build up these wonders, these other states. And there's a certain factor in the wondering about it that's quite incredible. And that's part of the process of coming to know astrology. Not just, I've analyzed everyone, I know exactly what it is. It's seeing the wonder in every person and the potentials in every person with all their coloring and accentuations. Okay, so Sigmund Freud, 16 degrees Taurus, feminine sign. This 15 degrees is going to be the winter solstice, so he's Taurus Capricorn in the 7th house. He always had a serious, you see him, you don't see him ever giggling or smiling. He's smoking a cigar, he's smoking his pipe or a cigar, or he always had a serious approach to things with the Scorpio ascendant. But this Taurus Capricorn, it was building up a career. He built his career up around his insight about relationships, so he thought was valued. And his Taurus See, he had the Freudian complex, but I think in seeing things, he could see when people didn't get what they want, they would get angry. The not getting what we want is really a Venus thing. And rage comes really from not getting what you want. So there was a really Venus element in his Freudianness. Everyone tries to think it's just sexual. It was not just about saying, it's about the rewards and what you get or don't get. His Taurus would be strong, and with the Capricorn rulership, Pentan, he would be really judgmental, defensive. No, if I don't get it or this isn't there, that's why. You know, like so. Okay, so this was Taurus, Capricorn with a Scorpio inner theme. So he did have the Scorpio theme inside of that, the judgment inside of that for his sign. Main theme Taurus, special focus Capricorn, and then the intimate detail is the Scorpio judgment, seeing things sexually inside of things. His moon is a Gemini with a Gemini, Pentan, and a Virgo. It's totally analytical, interpreting like his Freudian slip concepts were really fit to this early. Say a bunch of words and suddenly one word comes out that's different from it, and it's the whole resolution of the complex. It's really a very mercurial process. But he was able to do that, use the Gemini to get through, to make the Scorpio judgment, to nail it. So this was a fascinating side of it. Everybody's fascinating. Everybody has their own uniquenesses. His IC, which it's one of the most ignored points in the chart, but for me it's one of the most important because it's what motivates you. It's where you're coming from. And he's motivated by knowledge, by the Aquarius. And he has to, with Leo Pentan and a Leo subpentan. So he's motivated by being the best. Okay, so it's interesting. A big difference between him and Freud, him and Jung, is that he had his daughters, he had his family, he lived in the same place, he stayed in the same home. Like he moved a few times, but he made many years bringing up his kids. He only moved, and he only moved it when Hitler took over, came into Switzerland, and they were going after him, and he had to escape, and then he lived another year. But he was very proud and fixed in his traditions and in his way, but it didn't come out in his work in the same way. But in that way, it was very different than Jung. So he had the Scorpio ascendant, understanding it with Mars inside of it, who's doing what, what's right or wrong with him. You can play this through by working through them. Okay, I'm going to stay here again with Carl Jung's this last one. I'm going to look at it a little bit. Okay, so we have the Carl Jung, Leo with the Taurus. So he had his Taurus moon right on Jung's chart. So he had natural ability to study to pick up energy from Freud, although it didn't work the other way around. They both had their sun in the 7th house. His sun is in Leo, but in the first 5 degrees of Leo. Okay, so that's a masculine sign. The first 5 degrees, that's Aries. He is the Leo with the Aries. He was pushy. He was pushing to go competitive, push to get what he wanted. So a very different style of consulting of 7th house. They're both counselors, both psychotherapists. Like Freud was the founder of psychotherapy, and Jung came in as a student, but he built up his own practice. He didn't stay. He went and did his own thing more. But he had the Leo Aries, and inside of that was the Cancer, the feelings, the home. So he had a feeling. He had a very maternal side inside of this Leo Aries Cancer, but he had an instinct against the fixity or the judgment of the Freudian complex of Freud. He felt it differently. It couldn't be just that. His Taurus moon with a Capricorn on it, so he had the very inhibited moon and feelings, and with a Libra detail, but he had the need to be appreciated, or saw the value of Venus inside of so the Venus quality is with the Taurus and the Libras that are in this structure. So he had his definition that was a little bit more emotional, not so blatantly. He wasn't seeing sort of things blatantly so sexually, and his IC is Taurus, Pisces. So again, this is more the practical, but also that had the mystical side. He was motivated by a lot of psychic, mystical, astrology, I Ching. tarot, these things. He would integrate those things in. And Jung was totally against those things. And his ascendant was Aquarius, Aries, Taurus. So the need to be knowledgeable, put out his ideas, be known for his ideas. And he pushed forward, and he had his sense that he got paid for it. He had his appreciation for it. So he had his own style. I mean, it's too fast. So this is, again, the sub Pentans. So this is, we got here faster than I expected to get here. But anyways, this has our signs, the Pentans and the sub Pentans. Don't worry about the sub Pentans for now. You can look them up if you have to. You can get the screenshots from the things if you have to. But there's one last thing I want to do before I'm finished. It's going to take a few minutes, but it's going to show the Pentans and the sub Pentans in the color, and it's going to have the musical notes going with it at the same time. And just there's not time to play them all, but I'm going to play Capricorn since all the planets are there right now. So many planets are there right now that I thought if I choose one, I would give an example of it. But so yeah, okay. Then we can get into questions and talking and going backwards, because it's different to teach a class. I'm used to teaching with people. It's difficult to be teaching, just putting it out here just straightforward. And then we can talk about it. Okay, so let's go from here. Okay, get out of this. And I'll pull up the okay, here we go. This is a little video. It's a little slow, but a couple minutes, so just be patient through it. But it's going to play the Pentans and the sub Pentans of Capricorn.